chattering deep into the light bright webbings of Powdered Feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q.
Tonight it's just a simple excerpt from World Without Mind, The Existential Threat of Big Tech by Franklin Foer, where we pluck out the bits about the whole Earth catalog, counterculture of Apple, and sentiments about the inklings of why systems and networks were, are, and will be important in every aspect of human engineering. Peace and love from AquaQ, San Francisco.
We are as gods and might as well get good at it. So far, remotely done power and glory, as via government, big business, formal education, church, has succeeded to the point where gross defects obscure actual gains. In response to this dilemma, ND to these gains a realm of intimate, personal power is developing, power of the individual to conduct his own education, find his own inspiration, shape his own environment, and share his adventure with whoever is interested. Tools that aid his process are sought and promoted by the whole Earth catalog. Brand's manifesto distilled the thinking of the commune movement and then advance it in crucial ways. Technology, he argued, had created the ills of the world. NLY technology could solve them. Tools, liberated from the hands of the monopolists, TS and militarists, could empower individuals to become more self-sufficient and more self-expressive. Power tools to the people, you could say. If some of these sentiments sound familiar, it is because they have echoed in dozens of Apple commercials over the years. In a way, this was a theory of radical individualism and self-reliance, a forerunner of Silicon Valley libertarianism. But Brand had studied the works of such thinkers as Buckminster Fuller, Norbert Wiener, and Marshall McLuhan. All of his intellectual heroes wrote about the importance of looking at systems and networks. Is was where the notion of the whole Earth came in. Brand wanted his readers to think ecologically, to see how everything relates to everything else, to understand the place in the web of life. As the back cover of the catalog phrased it, we can't put it together. It is together. The whole Earth catalog is a foundational text of Silicon Valley, which helps and for the culture of the place. Despite the venture capitalists and the Teslas, Silicon Valley remains infused with the trace residue of the commune. It's the reason that CEOs sit in the middle of open offices that ostensibly eschew organizer title hierarchy, wearing the same t-shirt as the lumpen programmer across the row. And even though Silicon Valley's monopolies exist for the sake of profit, the Y view themselves as revolutionary agents, elevating the world to the state of on-ness that Brand spent his life chasing. As Fred Turner has written in his Import and book From Counterculture to Cyberculture, the catalog helped create the conditions under which microcomputers and computer networks could be imagined as two OLS of liberation.
Witherspoon dithered in 256 gray shades, that pull down, owned apart, meant not T.O.B., that is the question. Thinking is application of listening, outward, sideward, a query of the sequel to a movie that hasn't been written, or spat-on, or patently ridiculed, dictioned and transdeposed, through treble clef, and in dexterity. Langily ported, so to speak, a tree in the middle ground, route access to leave at will, if you leave it behind, signed. Yippee-Ki's Power Tools, GU. The Photoshop is open, illustrators are artists too, lined, DeviantArt. Like Suicide Girls in large format print, out of the closet, where I stashed it. Vinyl proof, for the water, a mirror Oculus, like Dracula, it draws and sucks, amperes of current, as in today, pushed up the square, waved, epsilon, and alpha, in particular, peculiars dice. Roll dice dotted T-Fords and bugged out sand dunes, let it tried symbol, crash. A zillion ways to Sunday, baller fresh fruit cantaloupe. D-Photo light tabled, and developed nations thrive for it's a wonderful world, Armstrong, Lely, take flight but don't crash La Bamba. Poetic justices are frozen cues from the past gas, cube, dry or nitro-powered, whipped and creamy air to the fortunate. It goes, on and on, or off and on, or off and off, XOR and not even odd flip gate, toggle, boggle. The mind, behind sights are from the past, and Piccadilly Circus is a roundabout way of saying it. London fog, in the trenches, wrenches wenches, and women draped over car and truck magazine, gazoo. Condition yourself, lather up, rinse, repeat. The reason is treason, only because it has a rhyme too. Woo.
Love from AquaQ. Do message me at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs/message and we'll put your message out there and respond in kind words. Peace with love, C3W.
Chattering deep into the light bright webbings of patterned feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q. Chattering deep into the light bright webbings of patterned feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q.
Look at all the lonely people, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been lives in a tree waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the pool. Who is it for? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear, no one comes near. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there, what does he care? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Look at all the lonely people, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been lives in a tree waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the pool. Who is it for? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear, no one comes near. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there, what does he care? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Look at all the lonely people, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been lives in a tree waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the pool. Who is it for? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear, no one comes near. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there, what does he care? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Look at all the lonely people, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been lives in a tree waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the pool. Who is it for? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear, no one comes near. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there, what does he care? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Look at all the lonely people, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been lives in a tree waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the pool. Who is it for? All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all
Charge, on guard, Ian says hell, oh. I've seen you before. A play, 4 words, 4 rooms. The movie with Madonna and a bath. Sidetracked. It fits, like a pear under an autistic tree. The fronds leave and plants its plants. Bark ARF and make the Madrona tea, see. State of memory, does it have a country, and its citizens? I heard somebody say, one time or another. History says hi, and offers a pizza for your life. Gads, a new soda pop drop bebop. So that was just an inkling, a life form made of electric ink for the pleasure of sharing DC current and sitting on my lap. And so that goes. On and off, just a bit, at a time for more nonsense, or at least 1%, milk. Get it? Got it? Good times on MT Ridgemount High. It's May 28th and things are under, and over, but not by desire, yet only by choice. And lack of, as in spare, change. Don't blame the rain, it came to wash the little spider out, on his way, towards the poor age, again, by Bo Peep, and the like of the frock. Sadness has an extra character, and that is an enigma, at least for the Romans. M&M is 2,000 and a bag of chocolate, plus some, a rabbit. In a stew pot, or some miles of rail, wrapped, up on the stage of man to give a fuck, or not, as it is pressed to mechanicals. And the whirls and twirls turn like those little things that do the same, at the fairground plot to land a cotton candy, or picky Miss Daisy by the water fountain. And lo, and roll a coaster or popcorn under a silver sliver of a screening of that new movie by that director who also did so, and that and such of such and that. Haven is thus, and senses are not aware, even though hands and eyes can see a piece of candy from a satellite image, it can not pluck it from the sky above, but do upload to a locale to pick it up and do scoff and quaff a soda on the afternoon of Cheetos or other similars for the oddities of our consumption.
The proceeding was written by an anemone which a penchant for higher life forms, and is known to the state of California to alter its state through the fair wishes of motion and mandated pillaries. Peace with love from San Francisco, this is, was, always can be, plus a bit more, and then some, Aqua Q labors of laboratories, and C3W.
Just like the alcoholic, whose pending impending loom comes to time, that is the time when he drinks, and is actually represented by expectation. It's funny, because he is also recursive, if heard and not cancelled, or clearly dereplicated with speech. Consider your mother, telling you to clean your room every day. Soon enough you clean it without being told. Or another scenario, you mention that you like bananas, and henceforth are reminded time and time again that you like bananas. Well, you may like them or you may not want one when people assume you do. Or further, perhaps you do want one, if there is a ritual of people yelling snacks down a corridor. And so you become accustomed to treats and forget about cleaning your room. Then choices are presented, matter of fact, which one must also live around, that is to saw around affect something new, related, or otherwise create a better environment of want. And while you're doing that, you may notice that your mind wanders, and there is an assumption because of the way you move your eye, that is actually merely a response to sound, and in no way represents, well, the proper body responses may not be representative of a logically sound mind, that is to say, sound as a just to audible waveforms on a representation of a body in space, the actual body, as well as the astral body that covers a similar space. Of course, when obfuscation is used, and abused, and becomes a norm, or is over-observed, as in a "hey wow that's clever" while not actually reacting to it, well then, one is just a lump of coal, or carbon, and not a spearheaded diamond as I heard on the street one day recently. So anyway, it's unusual to be usual about an unsettling causal nattery thing. That is matter and space and such. And if you can feel it, well then it's real, as in Bill McNeil's deal. He's dead, but that's the news, radio. What I'm trying to say is, negatives are regressives that will destroy matter and energy in a vacuum burst of unbubbly snoo, and well, you don't want that. Be kind. Rewind.
Chattering deep into the light bright webbings of powdered feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q.
Code Talk. Physics. Shapes and tea time. Under a swollen hyper-blue sky dome, the arena where we view and are viewed, stands and pits, steps and stones. We can't think without turning, and turning alters our course. For when we think, we ask questions, and when we ask questions, we are noticed. Pausal effect is when you pause and your course alters. And roundabout it goes forth. Wit. Powered, fires back like a track Mack truck stop drop and eggy breakfasts at 6 a.m. The visuals, trivials, trivet pie time, circled, and referential differential, slip, not, and switch on cares, to the Bosch Tiptronic, roar. Horses play and knights the queen who crosses, board. Riddle is sundown, Sundance Festival of Isle Mad Hatters, tea time, and Mushroom Alice made pizza and played cards in a garden. Spaced out on Mars, Pink Floyd then momentary lapse of nothing, never mind. Remember the interstitial dice, and Rorschach to see a butterfly, sin-eyed. Fours on the floor, face thumper rabbit / vertical bar. Back to Brainiac, Nestle and Rudolfo. Sentences like 2 clefs and 4 chords on a piano, they have a half and half. One may hear the bass, the treble, the phrase in and phrase out, or hear it all together. To hear it, without rest, or on an upbeat, chic dick, is talent, for sure. To be in an orchestra hit, Man, pass the drums, Kit. How to write the symphony, all individual, or all together now, as Lennon and McCartney did indeed say. To hear the past is to lose your place, to realize but grapple with current, is a loss for all. Pulls, buttons pushed through shirts tucked for business meetings with pointed pencils, and sharp-shooting students of maths and sciences, read the Times, one Sunday morning. Then there was the Square, with its duplex screen and high-class hookers, nay more, clean up the rough sticky bits and put them underground, with a wire, to pull a cable car around town. And she rides. Betting on tables in a casino, with a glass half full fly attitude and altitude. And it's 9:16 a.m.
Chattering deep into the light bright webbings of Pattered Feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the radiophonic workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q. Normality has now been obliterated. Send the drones with scones to bite toffees for the masses. Electrons matter, in ridicule. Dictionary is a glass half full, at least through page 287. After that it's just more of the same, but what does that mean? The difference between the middle and the rest lies out. What is participation, and if it rains, does it happen before what? Time to write is not the best spice of life, said the cook swine, which was particularly subpar today, like the eggs. But on point. Love, to the dis of courses, 3, as in meals for the mind, thrive hind, again, backwards yet forward, like a first date. Words digress again. Choices like the instant coffee, in kind. So down to business. I've not got my blackjack gum, and I've got a sort of feeling. What means again what is real? What feels? Have I said that before? Be punctual, as in punctuate is punctuariat, which makes sense on grass, by the sidewalk, but I digress. This is that and that is the other thing. Neither are related. Next. And then. Weld. A space is set up, in, and around, to be related and relatable. The complex, of life. A high-risen bit of fluff. One can see, at once, and work with. Start here. Vegetable, like A. In particular this morning the royal jelly are discussing, as in digressive dissection of Sing, the beginnings of what actual bananas do to an electrical system. Ground. AC. Space between feet towards earth, the circuit up to the heart. And you will feel a drop of nutrient and feeding goodness, that destabilizes ground, has a slight impedance, and provides a link for others nearby to realize the food. Think of a tree. It's planted and the earth talks with it, holds it up, and allows signaling, but what kind of signaling? And what for humans? And this banana? What do sugar effects have on electricity? Sugar water? Salt, water? And other pHs? And can they be measured on a microscopic topographical view, perhaps with something like FIPS but in read mode, where the pads read in data instead of sending DC? Something like a dermal diabetic test, with, say 5 to 10 pads on the foot, while it's attached to ground. That is the important bit. Take a look at bones as well, planted verticals, as in mathematical functions. The longer they are stable, the more they are fixed and expected. Even a proof, if there was such being which was both always planted and always in motion. A function of life. So it's more than just hair. It's matter which preceded it, but for how long, relatively, and absolutely? Well, even absolute is relative due to the period of time we are able to comprehend. That is, the beginning is absolutely relative to what we know as start. Ouch. So before, we had love, fear, want, and need. And now, or earlier, and later, we have objects in space that relate to each other through blood and bones, and all the emotions are actually relative and, in a way, make-believe. Even though it is reality, it is changeable, and thus is to be measured how? As a change over time, or as a snapshot. Either way, we know we feel different and why, and when we try to explain it, we cannot in full, nor is the explanation adequate even to ourselves, if we try to be absolute. So we must live on, and realize that even a pause is like allowing a change to enter into the stream. Like a black cat walking in front of you, as you look down. Does the cat enjoy it? Or is it slightly perturbed as well when you keep showing up? And where do your eyes move as they do in a search? What if we used a GPU to drive search engines, using AI to actually look at places like a map of a brain, to find interesting bits? Maybe an image, but maybe a swath of known where did I put that, and what is around me while I look up search. Send.
If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and you'll leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time. Love from AquaQ.
Chattering deep into the light bright lettings of patterned feed is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q.
Placement in rehabilitation centers is based on insight, which is a real-time and overtime analysis of where you would likely be the best fit, here, or away from here, depending on many factors, including local clients and staff. You always leave in pairs. This means the events leading to your spiral out are planned in threes, including one to actually unlock the door. Strange that nothing happens directly, else there is a complicated setup on a walkout, and the energy is pretty much at a standstill. The spiral out is surreptitious, wherein the bulk of people will never see you leave, nor know where you went, including immediate staff. Odd that mystery. To look at why it is that way, we have to acknowledge the hot in the room, that energy which is AC/DC on a person, and reacts with every path, circular, line, point, and the rest, through any manner of states. You will feel it when you are hot, and when you are not, it will heat up, as a memory immediate and over time if you don't react and rebalance. Medication also mocks up the paths, or can provide a buffer so that choices don't get way off the rails too quickly. However, choice and options to be free are truly the objective, for all. Consider the staff doesn't wish to be jowled, neither. So there are facts of what is expected, or what was used to work, and what is inevitable with physics and chemistry in this hot environment. So why are we all mashed together? Well, how else should we be? To appear normal in one of these environments is to discredit the micro-spaces that one allows to flourish and create space for others to likewise find you, hear you, and discover and share your light. Even mentioning it draws laughter, or skepticism, or, really, as known, a slight ball fondling feeling. Damn. So back to the being hot phenomenon. If you are seen, you are felt, and known for a duration of your paths crossing, at least until you unhook, or time passes as in the night, off the floor, and while the wall relax. Each person discovers their talents in this environment, and how to cope, through signing, and movement, talking, and repeating. That is, you may say something that you hear in your inner ear, then repeat it as it becomes solid, that is, amplified by nearby listeners. This is the radio in our bones. Teeth are radio. A slight yelling is heard, what we chose to listen to. To all, or near or far, depends on the path we want to make, which jump. The dialogue which happens in the body, between bodies, minds, eyes, hands, feet, and other clutches, lifts, fondles, or the like, to help you, the group, or others in their groups, be as natural and satisfying as possible. In an ideal world, nobody gets in each other's way, and everybody gets what they want, only being seen by the parties that are participating. That is the micro-spacing. Communication and positivity is key, and while not everything relates to oneself, it sort of does if you can study your radio. Don't eavesdrop, but operate normally. Pauses mean you're listening. In these situations you may be in somebody's planned spacing, or out of touch with your ideal spacing. Snap crackle pop. The other side effect of being hot is the physicality, as mentioned previously. Fat and cartilage give way, and weight loss occurs as an opposite reaction to consuming food. Also the bowel system slows, so is less frequent, and takes with it energy and blood, if you consume meat. So a bit of irreplaceable loo is left behind in the bowl, or is burned off into your glands and flake off. The other thing about water is that it takes energy to heat it up and cool it down, so if you drink ice water, your body burns calories to heat it up to body temp, which increases body temp. Likewise, heated water is already hot, and cannot readily be cooled down by your body. Additionally, salt and hot hazy water will burn away skin, and the skin becomes non-repairable. That is, it doesn't heal, haha, the way normal skin would heal. Think of rings of a tree. It recovers as it grows but never quite heals. Common damage due to hot water is, as they say, the tires. Those insulators, feet, and hands and face. Careful note, alcohol exacerbates hotness, and internal consumption would damage digestion in a similar fashion, and while I haven't seen it, I've been warned as many times as I can imagine. Basically things would clog up, and the pumps etc. would cause all sorts of blockages, that is a painful slow death. So food in this scenario is strange to consider, yummy as it is, sugar and salts, and well, all sorts of organic food, and killer meats, kill slowly. The only alternative is to do what's called mindful eating, wherein you share motion and activity, blood motion, to extend the non-desire to eat and drink, and stay out of direct sunlight. And that is the noise for today.
Money overlaps with human nature of economy and work, quite literally with bones and movement, speech, and intent and wants, with satisfaction closings. That is why it's so draining to lend money. Like eating food in front of somebody, it subtracts, divides, and generally costs more than it produces. And that's the kicker. Printed money costs more to spend than to just be. People get fed up with it, which is my little joke about food and money. It makes them tired like tryptophan. I'm not a fan. That would be a breeze. Easy puns relate one-to-one like money was supposed to do. But let's get complex. If you want quality, you operate on very low cash, with an expectation that you need to work to get from point A to B. The work is simple, and shouldn't appear erratic, but should flow like electricity. In fact, that is a direct correlation. To optimize, one should operate as a dream force and therefore are kind of always dreaming, sans REM, and able to move in multiple directions, astrally, to plant your feet and move with corollary forces, that is your A and L lines. So currency is just that, a current, and it's current. Love the language. It's not a jelly though, or maybe it is. Frictionless transactions are stress-free on the body of oneself and others, or specifically the group, and minimal friction between groups in close quarters. Another money joke. Square that and you have a function. It goes round and round, which is ironic, but a wheelhouse like that of a coin. More code. Roll with it. Imprinted in the currency is a promise. One between yourself and those who hold and use the coin, just like a human promise of health. If you feel friction, it's not quite a good exchange, and if the pain lasts, the whole transaction was poor. More cash humor. So you have your pursed lips, ready to transact, and it works. Your trade works in both energies and motion and leftover currency exchange, which is really the secondary but tangible artifact. Perhaps, The money should be coded based on the success of the transaction. Body sensors as virtual hands exchange, as in a blockchain color ledger of the event, what led to it, how it came together and departed, and more specifically, what happens to near transactions post the event. Are those successful? Are the systems working? Would one want to transact in those circles? How can they get there? Are there directions? Footprints? Breadcrumbs? Follow the digits. Those are hands. So now we have a blockchain mining search engine that is actually of skeletal form, as near as possible, using GPUs to simulate transactions based on known body chemistry and thermodynamics plus the residuals which are left. Consider those trails or wires. As in transfers or highways, or perhaps they are constrained like a Bermuda Triangle. What can be said about them over time? Do they operate on a Earth clock? Likely so. So those chunks can be blocked out and reused alongside weather and all sorts of other goodness. But it's not a mass of data per transaction, it's nearby in the blockchain, and is typically not observable from a far distance, until you get close to those transactions or can find them. And how do you find them? By transacting and putting yourself into the equations. And perhaps by reaching out sometimes but ever collecting and letting your bots roam your data and re-inform itself and others and pulse and glow and flow and grow, planted. So with this, we'll leave it with you. Do visit the other episodes, and do message us at anchor.fm/aquaqlabs/message so we can include your messaging. It's sometimes nonsensical, sometimes otherwise, but always just a bit of something you haven't heard before. And that's the piece of it, with love from San Francisco and the ether, AquaQ. C3W and PS This is my sexy voice. Chattering deep into the light bright webbings of patterned feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself and the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q.
Syrup corn, the high rose, sweet as it smells. Like diabiobetycal, Bet's umbilicals, frolicked in the heat. The story goes outward towards Fibonacci ++, the one and the other, and the sum, Gestalt. Directional antenna are astral motors, coiled. In spring, to mate's the queen, check yourself, mate. Have an iron brood frothy fusion. Noise, dillard. What one does, a sugar. Dressed up and dressed down, for the rush, as it goes, that remnant of the ferment, distilled drill. But in this environment, it is the chaos that is around us, and it's the sugar which is outside, not in us, and no money can buy as little as we require, which is literal fact. More good humor, less ice cream. To write a left is to make an L, or just silly. Splat. Spat. Dig it, dog it, dig dug, got it good. The maths will solve themselves to those paying for attention, while those at a loss remains. And so the problems too. People in sleep will operate on true math, and willingly forget, as the dream has no evident consequence, yet it does, as it places oneself in space to where you need to be. It's good to dream. It's good to act. It's good to be a good actor, to help those dream. How is it done, this life thing? It's a million things a second, and not any one thing. It's what you don't need to see, yet see anyway. It's around the walls, from your back around and towards your front. Solar plexus walks and connects the dots like blood or daughter midway bots dots. What to do, dither, as in calling out, who to listen to. Many to get you where you need to go. And yourself, as it should be, lest it alter yourself and point you to an untrue direction. Comms are always on, and why you move, are not broadcast to all but the pathway, especially in dual speech, scrubbing to replay the relevant where you want to go bits. And so forth it goes.
The ultimate everything, it's climate of timate, a powder for your drink. Results are salts again, insoles are feet on plexus. Nexus, follow me up. Alright. Tang said the trolley to Mars, where we plant the potatoes and response buds. Can you strawberry patch us into the switchboard? Exchange for the cross, barred from whole water, or was it the 1%? Oh. Is for observation, to appear normal and take the hit, or shall we carry ourselves on up and being in lie? Some stuff is better than just cheddar, and wages for ages, rages the pages of historical debates, snot on the finger, handy. You can choose your friends, just don't wipe them under the couch. What's in a name, claim, domain, train, when the sun comes up, tomorrow, as in the Fool on the Hill? Like Jack and Jill. Or was it Adam and Eve? No, they were young. Beep. Reap the paper ream, beam, light it up like a firecracker, bang it like New Year's Eve, in 1999, when the why was 2000 just for a night of Project Darkness to the gas pumps. Random acts come from /dev as poetry for the monkeys to transcribe, or so cigars mean they split up and match lighters with a glass of Portishead. HMMMMM. Spacious Grace is a cathedral in our loved city, where DiMaggio hid his Homer, and hard drives driver memories, like golf, or a SCSI data bit. En route, file system. Code begin. Indie code. Unter, rar, argx text, stop, sign. 6-sided, for who, owl howl, all, leather-tongued video, a shop down the road, and long-distance telephone calls from the past. Gassed. With nitrous and a laugh, haha, says someone or other. Probably other. To multitask is to fail. Like a pail of water under a ceiling light of cracked stucco, in heat. Where do you look?
Love from AquaQ. Do message me at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs/message and we'll put your message out there and respond in kind words. Peace with love, C3W.
Immediate and reciprocal emotion, cyclical and circular, as in where to put an emotion, how to attach it, and how to reconcile that within a realm. An example is hearing a noise, being annoyed, and other is annoyed just like you, but for a semi-related issue, where that issue is in time spatial to the senses. Number of emotions and sensories to be determined by those paying attention, and those guessing are putting their parts together to summarize and balance, with a non-forkable resolve. To resolve the half conversations, we need triple the people, and while much of this will sound to the listener as individual half conversations, they are actually part of the karma mesh which reaps. Then there are setups. They are recurring episodes of this reaping nature, wherein certain events can be learned and expected. Consider a secret entryway, with an always last chance backup guy to let you know you've passed the entrance. He'll act kind of out of the way and mumbly and crazy. And then you'll see a similar guy that next time. And soon enough, you make the entrance on the first round. Training. People want you to succeed, as the karma balance is part of their equation as well, and hence, the solution to all the problems. So how do we rein in the outlier, when the event is choice and you can only encourage the right choice to a want, which gets them there in the first place? How do you signal all these people, and how and why do people help in a setup? Well, first off, it's pay-in and fun and rewards are given. Fabulous prizes of freedoms of movement, getting oneself to where they want to go as well. Second, it's a familiarity that grows on you, and sleeping while they live. It's pathways that people want. Outward and with ability to grow, Fionaxi style. So flourish, take your time, Start early, walk a path, talk it talk, and walk again. Keep energy flowing and stop and use your special talents to get you, and them, where we want to be. Safe, with options, healthy, and sane, and fully healthy will appear just that way. Peace and love from San Francisco. This is the voice of AquaQ in the labs. C3W and do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs/message and have a rockstar day.
Send us a message at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and tell us what you want to hear. It's April 20th, 2020 and this is AquaQ Labs C3W.
What to write, human. The origins of man and woman. Oh wait, that story has been told. Of life, love, pursuits of the arts is a gift to be enjoyed with a debt-free society. The basis of all language is love, to be used with specific intentions and promise. Every sense of touch is done with water, blood, and bones keep tally and transceive like an abacus, truly, and always accurate, the doughy phalanges to be paid forward, just like the levels of a street, paved and walked to work and back to put wholesome food on our tables, to be eaten with friends and family in good health and the benefit of Mother Earth. Then there's alcohol. Looks like water. It's not. It washes away water, kills it dead. Water screams out as a steam and drips free away from alcohol. Alcohol can't love if it cannot love water. And water, although it dries, only sticks with alcohol to save humans from its toxicity. Then there's electricity. From the sky to earth, and beneath, as alternating unfaltering altercating power. Disruption of radio by re-attention-grabbing adverts. The hand follows the eye. Then we find gender. Left side, right side, and the likeness of each, to love, led by hearts, connected by bone, alive with skin, and sharing sensory and emotions as flow on these paths. See. Read. Be specifically general. Use the language. Pronouns plus synonyms. Code your words for sincerity. Do it naturally with love, and talk. Talk with people, not just the ones that talk back. Initiate yourself and others to open communicate and trust, being wary of their association only as can be known through your insight. Then we have truth. Truth is not what is said, nor written, it's what exists to be understood. Belief is like faith, is that it is true, like a tire pie round and round, on earth and up towards apex, for us to see. Beauty is exhibition of love, for others to multiply through wish. More can see on this during our first Renaissance, rounding corners and adding color to the palettes, stacked, and brushed, and canvassed across cities. Music is the collectiveness in predictive and mathematical harmonic numbering of beauty, over time with precision. To hold and to release. There is the official roads and account, and there is reality, which is required as love is sensible and not open to the public. It is to be felt to be known, and cannot be felt with opposing signaling, hence, our agreements for channelized comms, naturally, as according to our biology and training. Within all these things are numbers. Without them all is just zero, which is still in reality a placeholder for actual numbers, or really the Cartesian distance between them, which is the exchange. Market yourself, on Market Street, and love the paper flags and mighty trolleys which roll up to the main plaza to trade for bread and sweets. As if you were a child, take care and until next time. This is AquaQ from the labs just out of San Francisco C3W. We're carbon, made of carbon, fibrous beings, from the heart within. We rely on water and water needs freedom to live in the atmosphere, in cyclical nature, as God intended. It's no joke, and we AquaQ wants you to vote. Introducing House Resolution 763, the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. Using American technology and ingenuity, HR 763 drives down carbon pollution by 40% in 12 years. 2.1 million new jobs will be created with our 763 from local to globally conscious communities across America. The bill is co-sponsored bipartisanly by 80 House members. Policies for climate health affect us worldwide, from the richest to the poorest. We're all on this planet to breathe easy. Go to energyinnovationact.org to show your support, and keep on living. Vote. This voting booth blurb brought to you by AquaQ Labs, in concert with all living beings in this solar system.
24 Hours of Democracy was a polyweb project wherein you'd link your post to a prior and next post, everybody hosting their own page. I hosted mine on a university computer with Stampede Linux. Due to the short and decentralized content, archive.org was not able to capture it. I preserved my contribution, below. The silly human races. A race of silly humans. Submerged in ourselves. We are here for nature. Physical laws are for exploring. Man-made laws hinder exploration. Perhaps we need another. You shouldn't do that. We'll put you in cages. And age you out of mind. But look, here's television. To view things from afar. The cage is a window. And keeps us informed. We need to know how everyone is doing as they should, as we would, when they're watching.
Chattering deep into the light bright lettings of Pattered Feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q.
Introducing John4Bernie.com, the original whistleblower, Captain Crunch, and your Nevada delegate this 2020 hindsight year around the U-Bend. The captain is a strong advocate for privacy in technology, climate, research, and a slew of current events. John and Bernie agree in prodigious use of technology in our highly competitive American and globally thinking environments. Just listen to what John has to say. His voice has been disguised just because we love tech.
My values. I align with Bernie Sanders' positions on all issues, with collectivism being a major issue for me. Fake news. As Democrats, we believe in the First Amendment's very core. We believe in every human's right to speak their mind, even when they are wrong. Any attempt to limit ideas is inherently the wrong way to go. Justice and the law of the land should govern us, not the infantile needs of an authoritarian, which Donald Trump is in a great danger. Privacy. I believe in unfettered privacy for all people in the United States and worldwide. This applies to the details the government knows about its citizens, to our unfettered rights to encrypted communications. A clean environment. I believe in strong environmental regulation, and putting the earth first. Tax on extreme wealth. I believe in a clear and progressive tax code. Our policies should mimic that of Europe, with high taxation for wealthy residents and strong assistance to lower economic classes. I am fundamentally against taxation on worldwide income for non-residents, which is akin to economic slavery, and only practiced by the United States within the Western world. Building electric car infrastructure and other alternate energy services. I believe in a national infrastructure initiative to build all required infrastructure so electric cars can go mainstream within 10 years. Disability rights, equal pay for disabled people. As a partially disabled USAF veteran, this is dear to my heart and affects me personally. I believe in equal pay for all, Medicare for all, and clear assistance for the disabled. Racial justice. I believe in slavery reparations and unfettered free education for the African American population. Ever since Andrew Johnson canceled Lincoln's 40 acres in the meal program, African Americans have been tricked and looted up to the present day. American whites must accept all of us are to blame, and those of us with a clear conscience must fight our ethnic kin who desperately lost and believe in the oppression of minorities. Stem cell research and gene therapy. I believe in full and unfettered research in gene and stem cell therapies. Stem cells and gene therapy have radical implications for the future. The development of this technology cannot be slowed down by America. We must be a leading participant in it if we expect our values to be represented within this emerging field. Fair trade balance. I believe the United States should have an industrial policy over a capitalist policy. Companies should be manufacturing products in the United States and strictly penalized for offshoring. Massive incentives should exist for manufacturing inside the United States. Our current relationship with China should be delinked at a radical level within 3 years. Support for small businesses. The U.S. government should force banks to lend to small businesses without complication or excessive paperwork. Large banks worth over $10 billion should be broken up.
If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and do leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time. Love from AquaQ.
Chattering deep into the light bright webbings of Powdered Feet is this podcast, brought to you on the Anchor.fm platform from the labs of AquaQ. Anchor.fm is available for iOS and Android, brings a free and clear interface for your podcast creator genius, with royalty-free music and sound effects that make you sound from the Radiophonic Workshop, with segments for you to advertise yourself in the cash money you so deserve. Available everywhere podcasts are free. Just do the Q. Mind that bit of food. How cooperation and mindful eating reduces the need to consume food. A medley of motion. Consider the tugging and rolling of your stomach, from the inside out, and consider similar forces from a changed perspective. E.g. The difference between centrifugal and centripetal. The forces on the inside are driven by external forces, and vice versa, as if even our bones and skin are part of this stomach, among other things. So let's examine the parts of food. Water, obviously. And from our previous episode we know that Van der Waal indicates special forces in the life of bodies, of water, which means us. Then we have variations of liquid, suspensions, and blends etc., but it's really the organic items that our bodies concern itself and others with, in this push-pull roll, leave artifacts behind, trail, and project kind of sciencey thing we're talking about. Osmosis happens in an instant, as the saturation in a room changes, it fills the pathways, gaps that have come and gone like pitter-patter of little feet walking by, but it's also an implicit declaration of learning and relationship between water and matter, the displacement. And what joys can be experienced in this displacement to minimize an energy loss and hence the conservation of motion, as is our premise. Other organics are fat-burning, fat-promoting, and fat itself, as well as spices. In our case, we'll summarize that fat-burning foods generate heat and thus are a poor case for conservation in mindful group eating. As well, fats don't quite get bound to the body as natural fats generated from the body, and so act as a sort of gelatinous insulator of the electricity in our bodies. Then plant matter. It gets turned to gas. As well to note, meats. The life of another being, churning in and around in the body, surely now is known to cause all sorts of disharmony, if you consider this telegroup digestional forces. That is, how does one understand the guttural subvocalizations of a gut consuming and churning through actual flesh? Warble. So to optimize, we don't think about it, we act it out, exchanging motion for balance and allowing various holes in space-time to be filled in a string which leads people from ahead and behind. This creates our energy stream, from the floor up to the 7th chakra, lead by chakra 1, in our case here. Although do note that males and females have their specialities, as ordered by group numbering and practices. So we have our ideal forum. One where the group works together to survive on next to zero food, or at least the minimum amount to drive them to their next availability of resources and minimal waste. It also provides insight and a map to map onto other engineering maths in the pursuit of natural ways to isolate and use energy production and consumption together to eliminate usage and carbon and poisons in the air and water, to further this engine which is the planet and ourselves, as stated in the centripetal example, and now quite literal here, the planet, humans, and engineering energy transferences, are like the stomach, where reciprocal motion is learned both by what we are, and how we engineer and create. It's not us, and what we make, but rather what we make makes us, and the reverse, in very real time, and for a long time. This is AquaQ with love near and about San Francisco, the Lab C3W.
If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and do leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time. Love from AquaQ.